What's up, everyone? Now, we're going to be getting into a different game today. And despite what I've heard, to my surprise, I genuinely have started to really like this game. And the crazy thing is that it's so much more than just the type of game that was being insinuated. It has a diverse and expansive community, and it has a ton of content for you to be able to partake in. And I'm going to ensure that as we're getting into this game, you guys are coming along the process with me. I'll be right there every step of the way helping you guys out, and we're gonna have some stuff going on in the Discord as well. Now, today's video is being supported by Raid, and I'm actually really excited because there's a ton to jump into in this game. So to ensure that you're getting one of the best starts possible, by time you get to the end of this video, you're going to have two epic champions, Drake and Tagoar, that's absolutely going to help with your progression push, and two legendary champions, Alice and the Monkey King, that's absolutely going to skyrocket how much further you can get in the game. So keep in mind, guys, that this is going to be limited to my QR code and the link down below, and I want you guys to start off as strong as possible so you can keep up with me as we're going through this together. Now, let's jump into some of the things that's actually drawing me into the game. I want to start obviously with some of the things that I like, but then I want to coincide it with some of the things that's going to help you guys with your progression. Now, if we go to the index real quick and let's go to the Orcs, which I'm going to say is probably my favorite faction at this point, you have Tagoar. Tagoar looks insane. I gotta say, this is a character that actually has the ability to also transform as well. And even in the transform form, she looks so insane. It's like she becomes the Orctress Supreme. Like, I don't even know. But either way, she looks so sick. And it's just cool to kind of see how she like now has a sword and also a hammer. And she's just a really strong looking character. Like, this is just nuts. And then she has a ton of AoE in her kit. Like AoE in the skill 1 and then has the chance of repeating it, right? 20% though, but still, she can still do it. Then she has in the skill 2 the same opportunity to AoE, but then the damage basically increases by 10% for each buff that the champion has, and then she ignores defense. And then with the passive ability, she has the opportunity to also joint attack when an ally attacks. And then her damage goes up for the increased amount of basically the amount of HP that is basically being lost. And so that's just insane, right? And there's another one, for example, that I actually like. And we're not gonna look at just the mythics. I wanna focus on another legendary that's actually really cool. And it's actually gonna be Alice. Alice the Wanderer specifically. And one of the things about this character that really drew me to it is the fact that she actually has this kind of like gothic look to her. And it kind of reminds me of some of my favorite games. And one of the things that I really liked was not just how the character looked, but the fact that she actually has a very sick kit. And also the fact that they kind of played on some of the nostalgia of this character. You can obviously tell this is like about the children's book Alice in the Wonderland, but they kind of did their own spin with the Alice the Wanderer, which is kind of cool. And it has its own respective lore, right? But then in terms of the kit, you basically have it to where she's able to attack one enemy twice. She places an extra hit if the target has any active skills on cooldown, which is like almost always. That's just gonna happen. And in each hit has an 80% chance of decreasing the duration of a random buff on the target for one turn. That's just like, okay, OP. Then on top of that, you also have the Clockwork Cyclone. So it attacks all enemies and has a 75% chance of increasing the cooldowns of all enemy skills by 2 turns. And then also has a 75% chance of decreasing each of the target's turn meters by 15%. And if at least one of the target skill has a cooldown, increases it to max and then decreases their turn meter by 30% instead. So that's also really huge. And then on top of that, she also has the Queen Slayer, which is a attack to a single enemy and will ignore 20% of the target's defense. Now, if the initial target is killed, will also attack the enemy with the lowest HP and will also ignore 20% of their defense. So she just kind of gets to do whatever she wants, basically. And then they gave her an aura that basically makes it to where her allies attack, including herself, is going up by 30% in everything she's in, right? Which is nuts. So she has so much value, so much utility. And the crazy thing is that this is a champion that everyone can basically get for free. And just from simply logging in, which is the other crazy part. So I'm even working towards that because that's going to be a legendary that's going to be huge for helping you out with progression. She's definitely going to be a unit that can be utilized as another character for helping you clear or wave clear content. And then she's also going to have her own respective prowess in PvP. The other cool thing is too, too is that with the Alice chase, you're going to be able to receive gear to work on and work towards building her properly. And then on top of that, at day 14, you get a 2-star perfect soul, which is going to immensely skyrocket and jump up her stats. So this is something that I really feel like is such a huge and just really cool component of what they're doing that's allowing you to have a much easier progression push in the game. In conjunction to that, there will also be an event dungeon that will be accessible where you'll be able to actually take on the Queen of Hearts. And of course, I'm going to help you guys with working you up to the point of being able to do that. But I think it's worth mentioning that there's a really insane set in here called Pinpoint, which is going to be absolutely ridiculous if especially you're trying to get into some of the clan boss stuff and even more so the arena content. The other thing is too, for you guys that are starting out fresh, I think it's going to be really important that you understand what you need to be focusing on. So really quick, right? One of the main things that you're really going to need to make sure you're focusing on is the campaign. The campaign is going to be one of those first components in the game that's going to be giving you a ton of resources. Now, the other thing is too, is that like within the game, I'll show you guys a run here. It's really, really cool to see how they have the teams fleshed out. They have like features like super raids. They also have the multi-battle, and that's going to allow you guys to seamlessly go through your stamina and just really getting into the game more, right? Now, obviously, we're going to go ahead and run this real quick. I'm using right now a very special champion, which I'm going to take you guys to the index to look at. You get to basically pick 4 or 1 of 4 in the very beginning. And this specific champion, in my opinion, is going to give you one of the biggest progression pushes from the normal units that you're going to have access to. Now, again, that's going to be this unit here in the middle, Kale. As you can see, he's already clearing things, and this is at the entry level, right? Once you get more development into him, he's going to be absolutely insane. Now, you might see a couple of other abilities going off like poison, etc. That's going to be a huge piece of the puzzle for him. That is a part of his bread and butter and what really makes him a absolutely insane unit. Now we're going to go into the index here and we're going to take a look at the Dark Elves. That's the faction that he actually comes from. And Kel actually offers a couple of different things, right? So he obviously has the poison in the skill 1, which is huge. And that's going to be necessary for that first team that you might be compiling for your clan boss. Now, the other thing is too, is that you want to make your first level 60 be a character that can help you seamlessly farm, and he's going to help you with developing and building up other characters on your account. So he is a low investment, easy pick for that. Now, the other thing is too, is that he has an AoE in the skill 2 that also has a 50% extra chance of inflicting a crit. And then on top of that, he can basically fill his turn meter by 25% for each enemy that he kills, which makes him an excellent farmer. Now, on the last skill here, which is disintegrate, it is actually going to allow him to basically have the opportunity to attack 4 times randomly. It has a 40% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. So absolutely insane utility. And you guys know I love poison units. So even despite all of the stuff I just said, I would still pick them anyway. Now, on top of that, keep in mind, I did mention to you guys that you guys were going to have some characters at your disposal from my QR code and the link down below that was going to help you immensely. So if we go down here to the Orc faction, we have one of the characters that you can get for free, Tagoar. Now, Tagoar is going to be an excellent epic for you to have as far as your supports go, because if we look here at the skill 1, it attacks 1 enemy 2 times, places a 60% increased defense buff for 2 turns on the ally with the lowest current HP. And then when you go into the skill 2, you also have a ability that attacks all enemies and then places a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns and then heals them for 15% of this champion's max HP. And then when you look at the very last skill, you have an AoE revive with 30% HP, and it also places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns equal to 20% of this champion's max HP. And this is going to be a universal ability and kit that can just work in most places, whether you're climbing tower, whether you're doing your clan boss. This is going to be an excellent kit that you're going to get via the QR code or the link down below. Now, of course, this is not the only epic champion you guys are going to be receiving for free. Let's actually take a step back and go to the Lizardman faction. This is another cool looking champion as well, Drake, right? Now, Drake is actually going to have some neat abilities where it attacks one enemy, grants an extra turn if the target is killed, right? So if you're, say, pairing them up with like your Cal and Cal doesn't finish something, Drake can easily infiltrate and finish things off. Now, you also have in the skill 2 here where you're able to attack one enemy, and if the target has less than 50% HP, this attack always crits. Okay, that's insane. Now, also in the skill 3, you have here where in Decimate, you can attack one enemy. It places a 30% decrease speed debuff and a 50% decrease accuracy debuff on all enemies for 2 turns if this attack crits. Now, why is this so huge? Because decreasing the speed is going to significantly reduce the rotation that that opponent has. And then on top of that, decreasing the accuracy is going to make it to where they can't land their debuff. So if they're trying to poison you or stun you or whatever it is that is a debuff that is against you, is basically going to be decreasing the chances of that landing. So this is essentially going to be a super essential point of value for your account and your progression. Now, let's actually take a step back and let's jump into some arena. Like I mentioned before, there's a ton of content to actually do in this game, but you want to make sure that you're starting off strong and getting through the campaign first. Now, there's obviously things like the dungeons. You have your faction wars where you basically can take each of the factions and go through its own respective content. You then have the arena clan bosses, Doom Tower, Curse City, and Siege. Now, we're going to jump into a little bit of arena, like I mentioned, and get into some classic arena. Now, they do have RTA or real-time arena, which is another thing I'm actually really excited to get into as well on this account. So we'll get to that in the near future. But let's go ahead and let's attack this first person here. With the team comp that I'm using, we're obviously using the Sun Wukong. We got our Kel, we have our Priest here, and we have the Crusaders. So let's go ahead and let's attack this this team comp. All right, so we're gonna manual it here. First attack that we have with the Sun Wukong here that we could use. I mean, technically we could go skill 2, but I like the idea of possibly maybe nuking them. And then if they were able to go first, we would be able to steal all their buffs and basically put a buff debuff on them. So that basically would be super sick. Now, with that, let's go ahead and let's just attack here. Boom. And so that, I'm surprised he survived. Gallic actually survived that. I'm surprised, but we're going to clean up here anyway with Kel. So let's go ahead and let's finish him. And then boom, there we go. We're on the road to building up our tier. And of course, that's something that's going to help your account out immensely as you're pushing throughout the game, right? Now, you guys are in luck because just like I was able to use the Monkey King, you can too. And there's going to be an exclusive coupon code for you guys starting out new that you're going to be able to take advantage of. If you go over to promo codes and you type in Monkey, right? King, hopefully I can spell correctly, and you type in Monkey King, you will be able to receive a free copy of the legendary champion, the Monkey King. Now, real quick, what does he do, right? Because again, that's one thing that's going to be bringing you a ton of value to your account. Now, like I mentioned before, we were able to basically steal the enemy buffs with the skill 3, but then also being able to place a block buffs on them. Now, the other thing is too, is he has a skill 2 that's going to attack one enemy. It ignores the target's defense, 50% of it, and then it will attack all remaining enemies with any surplus damage if the target is killed. This attack will also ignore 50% of the target's defense, and this attack cannot crit. If the initial target survives, places sheep debuff on them for 1 turn. This debuff cannot be blocked. And then of course, for the very first skill here, we have the attacks one enemy. It has a 25% chance of stunning debuff for 1 turn. And then the chance increases to 50% if the target has any buffs. Now, again, this makes Sun Wukong an excellent arena champion. And not only is he great in arena, but he's going to actually be good in PvE as well. Whether you're doing tower, whether you're doing even some things with the clan bosses, Sun Wukong actually is a huge freaking champion to have. Now, of course, I gotta mention his revive mechanic, where he basically can revive with 100% HP and 100% turn meter 3 turns after he is killed, which is insane. And then of course, he comes with a speed aurora in arena, so he's gonna help you out immensely with the rotations and really just kind of filtering out some of the speed you might be lacking from your gear. So really excellent champion that you're going to be able to get for free. Okay, now that we got you guys set up with the best start possible, make sure you guys check out the QR code above and the link down below so you don't miss out on this limited opportunity. I wanted to jump into some summons. There's actually an insane rotation going on today. Specifically, which I'm kind of lucky, right? I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually really lucky that this is the rotation today. And so for this video, because this is a special video, I want to make sure we're getting some big bang pulls here. And we're going for the Sacred Shards. Now, the Sacred Shards are going to be giving us an opportunity to potentially, maybe hopefully, get a legendary. But you basically are pulling amongst a pool of anywhere from an epic to a legendary, which is really cool. So we have two events that's currently going on. We have the Progressive Chance event, which we have a lineup of legendaries that we can try to get a higher chance of getting, and some epics in there. So one of the ones that I'm going for off rip is going to be Brogni. I feel like this is an excellent champion, just to kind of show you guys what he's able to do. He has a ton of different utility. He has the HP burn in the skill 1. He has the ability of basically attacking all enemies with a 75% chance of removing one buff from all the enemies. And then he also can give shield to all allies as well, and as well as removing debuffs, right? And then he has the block debuffs buff in his kit, and he is also able to increase attack of all allies for 2 turns. He can give them shield, and then he can also basically make this scale off of his HP, right? So he's a ton of utility. He also can heal too, right? That's another thing that's insane. So you get all of this with a reflect shield. Like, the dude is just nuts. So we're putting him on the rotation for sure. And then one that I absolutely am like, okay, I got to get him because he's actually not often rated up. I have to get Geomancer. I have to, because Geomancer's nuts. Decrease attack in the skill 1 to all enemies. He has a chance of removing buffs from the target and then attacks them. He has the HP burn, and he is able to reduce the cooldown of Quicksand Grass by 2 turns if the target is killed by this skill while under the HP burn. And the Quicksand Grass is basically going to fully deplete the target's turn meter. It can HP burn, weaken them, which is insane. And then when you have it ascended, you're going to see some of those values actually increase. So it basically then will fill the champion's turn meter by the amount of the turn meter gauge that the target loses. And then of course you have the HP aura. But again, with that and all of the extraness that he has in his kit, this guy is just insane, right? So we're going to be putting him on the rotation as well. So let's go ahead. Let's see what we can get here. Hopefully we get lucky, and let's see what we can bring home. All right. So let's go ahead and let's start. All right, here we go. Let's start off strong. Okay. So we got Durandil, not a bad champion. Basically has a freeze. So again, this is kind of building into some more of those like freeze. I guess it's a form of CC as well. So you have the ability to freeze in the skill 1, and that basically has a increased chance of also applying when you crit. You have the AoE here that ignores 50% of the target's defense, and then you get turn meter gauge from that. And then you also have the ability to ignore 50% of the target's defense hitting a single target, and then you get perfect Val, which is basically kind of making you not targetable by AoEs essentially. So really cool, right? Not bad. And I'm pretty sure, what is this? This is an increased crit rate in all battles. I'll take that. That's not too bad. Okay, let's get into the next one here. That's not bad. All right, let's see what we can get. Come on, give us legendary. Okay. We got a Thor. A Thor's all right. I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. Let's go to the next one here. Let's see. Come on. All right, let's see what we get. Okay, so Delver is not too bad. She does have a heal reduction block, and I guess that can be useful in some places. She is a faction unit, or faction crit unit, so that's not terrible. We have the weakened debuff with the 3-turn lasting on that, with the decreased defense. And then when we're able to get this ascended, it basically will be to where she cannot have it resisted, right? So that's not a bad thing. She can basically AoE as well, gives an increased attack buff to herself before attacking. And then she also has a 50% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff on the target before attacking as well. So that's not bad, right? I mean, that's genuinely not bad. All right, let's get into the next one here. Come on, man. Oh, I thought that was something. Oh, okay. We got Torgi the Frog. I'm not gonna lie, that's not bad. This is actually a really good champion. You have the decreased attack in the skill 1. You have the provoke debuff in the skill 2, and the chance increases based off of the number of debuffs that's on the enemy team. You also have the shield and the ally protect with also the reflect damage, and then the heal increases by 2.5% for each poison debuff on the enemy team. So that is going to be great to pair up with, obviously, like we have that Kel. Huge, right? But when attacked, there's a 50% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff on the attacker for 2 turns, occurs once per hit, right? So again, also all ally res battles or res in all battles is increased by 40, which again, you know, not really something I would really see myself using, right? You know, in something, but it's there, right? Now let's go ahead, let's get into the next one. We haven't got anything yet, not anything crazy. Those are solid, but not anything crazy. Come on. Okay, who did we get? Oh my God. We got Tatura Rhymehide. I think this is actually great. This actually might help out significantly. If I'm not mistaken, we might actually be able to use this champion in Clan Boss. So you basically have the decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns in the skill 1. You have the block debuffs buff and increased defense on the skill 2. And then you have the perfect veil. Also places a shield on the champion for 2 turns. 20% of this damage is inflicted. And then the passive basically can reflect 30% of the damage this champion receives back to the attacker. Also has a 30% chance of freezing debuff the attacker for 1 turn. So again, we got 1 legendary on the account. That's actually pretty sick. I'm not mad. This actually looks really cool. Honestly, this is a sick freaking design. That is so sick. Now, this also is a target, and actually better yet, it might be a unit that we can actually use in the Doom Tower because it increases allies' defense in Doom Tower by 35%. All right, that's sick. Okay, I'm happy. Let's keep going. Let's see if we can get another one. Come on now. Come on, game. Let's see. Ooh, okay. Goragab, if I'm not mistaken, is kind of like the baby version of Arbiter. So this is actually a really cool character that we'll have to basically take advantage of here. 50% chance of removing 1 random buff, and then you also have the resurge, so you're able to basically turn meter fill all allies, increasing attack. So this is actually pretty solid for PvP. And then you have the reviving of all dead allies by 25%, and then heals them by 25%. And then the heal will happen even if there are no dead allies. And then of course you have the increased speed aura, which is why I said kind of that connection to Arbiter is kind of a big thing. So that's kind of cool. Not a bad unit to pick up this early, especially. All right, so let's see here. Let's see what our chances are looking like. We are at 6. We got a couple of more to get into, so let's see. All right, so we got another one here. We got Horror Feast. I'm not sure what this unit actually does. So we got stun in the skill 1. We have increased attack and crit rate. That's not bad. And then we also have revives 2 random eyes with 50%. And then, oh dang, so you can give a strengthen buff and then also give them turn meter push. Oh, okay. That's not bad. That's actually not bad. Okay, not bad at all. All right, so let's see. We got another one here. We're gonna try to see if we can get at least one more. One more. All right, so we got Sakara. I mean, she's okay, I guess. I mean, nothing crazy. I was hoping we could at least get one more here. Horden's not bad. He's an okay champ. Not too bad, not too bad. All right, let's see what else we can get here. All right, so we got the Ripper. I think the Ripper is not that great, but it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Let's see what else we can get here. Okay, this is Jorgen. I think Jorgen actually has a decreased attack, a provoke with a shield buff, and then also unkillable. Oh, able to ignore unkillable and block damage buffs. So it could be useful later. So that's actually not too bad. All right, let's see here. So we also have a couple of more here. Let's see what we're able to get here. Okay, not a bad pool. The reason why I'm gonna say this is not a bad pool is because this is a great unit to have for the fusion. So that saves us some resources there. That actually is not bad. All right, so let's see here. All right. Oh, Rector Draft. That's huge. So this is another unit that's actually pretty solid to get. Decreased attack in the skill 1. You also have the Perfect Veil with the continuous heal. And this is also going to be based off the champion's max HP. And then you also have the revives a single ally and fills their turn meter by 60% and then gives them the Perfect Veil, which is nuts because it makes it to where they're not targeted, right? And then of course, this is going to have the res for all, increased in Doom Tower by 55. So that's nuts, right? All right, so let's see what we can get here. All right, come on, game. Nice. Okay, we got Geomancer. I will take that. That is a huge boon to this account. Like I said, dude is nuts. This is absolutely a game-changing character, so I'm actually pretty hype about that. And then we got one more here. Okay, we got one more Sacred Shard here. Let's see what we can get here. Okay. Oh, okay, it's Mad Hatter. Okay, it's Mad Hatter. Oh, okay. I thought I was about to lose it. I mean, I'm still losing it because that's crazy. But we actually got the Mad Hatter, so we got 2 legendary. Look at the little dance. So now when we log in, we'll also be able to obtain Alice as well. So that's pretty sick. So yeah, dude, we got a ton going on here on this account. This is just insane. Now, with that, guys, definitely important that you guys check out my link down below in the QR code. If you guys have been looking for any way to help me out, I would truly appreciate that. Again, it is also going to be in your benefit if you want to come along the journey with me that you take advantage of these goodies. Keep in mind that as far as the things that you're able to get, you will immediately get the Epic Champion Drake from the Lizard faction, and then you'll also get at level 15 the Epic Champion Tagoar from the Orc faction. And keep in mind, guys, after you download, use the promo code Monkey King ASAP because it's going to be gone at the end of February. This is going to be something you do not want to miss out. And then on top of that, make sure at minimum you're at least logging in for the 14 days and at least for the 7 so that you can get that Alice the Wanderer and as well as her soul at the 14 days. Now, of course, like I said, guys, this is not a joke. I really want you guys to partake and join me on this journey. So I actually made a Zoxfam clan inside of Raid, and I would love for you guys to join. I would love to see you guys in here. Make sure you guys join up. I'll have everything in the Discord as well. All the links will be down below. Like I said, guys, check out the QR code and the link in the description so you don't miss out on this. But that's going to be basically that with this one, guys. Hope you guys have a blessed day. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.